We're gonna talk to some people, gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna talk to some people, gonna learn a lot of stuff. We're gonna talk to some people, gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna talk to some people, gonna learn a lot of stuff. Cause Kristin knows blank.
But the important thing is that I'm learning. Hi, welcome to the show. I have a great show today. Dan Gabriel, a hilarious comedian, will be joining to talk about his love of the Dave Matthews Band, and my best friend, Mean Kellie, will also be popping in to help me understand why Dan loves the Dave Matthews Band. Plus, as always, there's going to be a rad lib, which is a lot like a Mad Lib, but I wrote it and I don't want to get sued by Mad Libs. So it's going to be a great show today. Stick around. Take a second before we get started. Just take a second to like this podcast and subscribe or follow it. Please, 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 please. Thank you. I'm Kristin Key. I'm a comedian and musician. You can find me online at kristinkey.com. Find me, follow me, friend me, and all those things. And now we're best friends forever and ever and ever. Oh, now I'm so excited. Let's get right to it. Hey, computer lady, make Mean Kellie happen.
Here is Mean Kellie. She is so mean.
Mean Kellie, it's so good to have you back on the show. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I needed you today because I have a guest and their expertise, it confused me. I asked my friend Dan Gabriel to come on the show, and every week I ask my guest, what's 3 things that you could be an expert on? And his threw me for a loop because he said comedy, because he's a stand-up comedian. He said cooking, sure, of course. And the third was Dave Matthews Band. And I immediately thought, well, that's what I'm going to interview him about. I'm going to talk to him about Dave Matthews Band because I don't know anything about Dave Matthews Band. But then I started thinking, you know, why is he a Dave Matthews Band fan? and I'm not making fun of him. I'm just, I guess, what makes me yeah, why am I a Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan? You know, and then I thought, that's because I need to talk to Kellie because you are a fan of lots of things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
that's true.
What's the difference between, I don't even know what my question is. Like, why does this happen? Like, why do we fall into the things that we do?
I don't know. I am a fan of a lot of things. So yeah, for a long time, my concert bucket list was Barbra Streisand, Madonna, and Eminem. And
what an
all of those people I've seen
of entertainers.
Exactly. So it's not as if I stuck to some sort of genre or, and then as far as television goes, I'm all over the place. You know, Buffy, all of those things, you know, Buffy, Angel, Firefly, all those shows. And then all the Marvel shows, all the silly CW superhero shows that are on, but I'm also like obsessed with Dexter and Homeland and
wait, I'm gonna interrupt you just for a second. You said a word that I think unlocks the key to this episode. It goes from I'm a fan of to I'm obsessed. I think the word is obsession. It's like I'm a fan right now of Perry Mason. I'm obsessed with the Beatles, with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like those are 2 things that like I would seek out. Like I'm listening to a podcast called Buffering the Vampire Slayer.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even want to talk about the Beatles. Like when I see those old videos of girls like and like fainting and crying at a Beatles concert, I would have, like, if I had a time machine, I would not kill Hitler. I would not right any wrongs. I would not bring world peace. I would just go see a Beatles concert and be like, done. Time machine returned.
That's really selfish.
It is. And that's what I would have no contribution of mine. I would just watch them play and be like, and cry and scream and faint, you know, and have that experience.
Mm-hmm. I can't say what goes, but I've always been this way. I mean, as a young child, as a young girl, it was Madonna all day, every day. You know, in the 7th grade, I knew the whole express yourself dance. Like I learned the whole dance from the video. At some point I knew all of the Vogue dance. And I wouldn't say particularly a graceful dancer.
Oh no,
I was committed.
Never would I describe you as a graceful anything.
True.
Dog walker. But graceful dog walker.
I don't know. But I was dedicated really to learn. I did a project about Madonna in the 7th grade also. At one point I counted the pictures and posters I had on my wall, because I had, regular size posters on every wall. But then on one wall, I made like a giant collage. So it was like poster sized pictures to like very like the size of a quarter that you cut out of a magazine.
I was picturing like a
Pictures,
science
and it
fair
was
where
like
you have like funnels and like
no.
Okay.
That would have been awesome.
No.
But one whole wall was just a big collage of pictures, and I counted once, and it was something like 339 pictures
Of Madonna.
In my room. Yeah.
So okay, so this has gone beyond like,
My
oh yeah,
parents
like
did
I
not
like Parks
know-
and Rec. Like that was an obsession.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was an obsession, and my parents did not know that I was gay. How? But all right.
That is denial. If we're just playing like
Sure,
a glossary
absolutely.
of terms, that is
All right.
denial, and you had an obsession. So okay,
Eminem is the same way. I mean, I don't have 339 pictures of Eminem on my wall, but I do know like all the lyrics to all the songs.
which
I
is
mean, I
a
would
feat in
study
itself.
them
Those are
carefully,
a lot of
like
lyrics.
study them carefully.
Oh, I remember.
Probably not so much anymore, like the last couple of albums, just because I don't really have the time.
Well, back in the
but I
day,
still
I mean, I feel
listen
like
to
we
them,
had a
like
lot
I
more
still-
time to smoke weed and listen to rap lyrics.
Sure, yeah,
and learn
absolutely.
them and practice them and rehearse them.
Mhm.
And our rehearsal time has really gone
Yeah.
away with our businesses.
Sure. And
That's
you and
not
I,
fair.
we used to travel around. You had Susan Gibson on a couple of episodes ago, and she was in a band called the Groobies.
I may
and
have
we traveled
stalked
around.
her. I don't know if that's
We
stalking.
didn't maybe
I
stalk
think
her.
it might have been stalking her because I sent emails.
I don't think it's.
I spent a lot of time working on that. Because we used to talk about like not crossing the fan band relationship, which I completely disregarded, and eventually, I think became her friend, or else to appease me to leave her alone. She gave me a box of Simpsons tapes, and I would watch all.
I mean,
Susan's-
we've been to her house. Like we
Yeah.
did break that barrier, but you
Yeah.
can't go after that barrier. You have to let that happen organically. Otherwise, you're just like that weird girl that won't leave you alone at all your shows.
Although, if you are a weird girl out there, so are we. We are that weird girl. So don't feel
Yeah,
bad
but
about it.
play
If
it
there's
cool,
someone that
weird
you're
girl.
like fangirling about, that's what we did too. We sent emails, and I think we like made a mixtape I mean, I've definitely. But what? Like,
I'm just saying, play it cool. We did all of those things after they came to us, right? Like they saw us at a million shows. We sat in the front row. We made
paid our dues
faces and laughed at the
as a
jokes
stalker.
and made little jokes but tried not to be obnoxious.
we lured
Tried to
them
be
with our.
we tried to be
charm.
something they looked forward to, rather
Right.
than, oh God, there they are again.
Right.
And so then they came and talked to us. And so I'm just saying, weird girl, give it all you got, but play it cool, man.
Do play
come to
cool.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess that's like why, like the Grateful Dead had deadheads that traveled for years following them around. There's
I know a
something magical.
I know a girl who is now has a PhD, who spent like a couple of years just following them around and like selling burritos in the parking lots of the shows.
Okay. So now
Gave me my first dog.
You're so neither one of us are psychologists or psychiatrists. I know we've both seen them or should. Is this a healthy obsession to have like fandom, where like to follow a band, to love an artist so much that I would, seek out their artistry over and over and over? Is that a healthy obsession, or is this, creep town?
I do not
population
know.
me?
I know that my wife is a communication professor, and she there's a term for it. It's called a parasocial relationship.
Ooh, that
And
sounds hot. I want a parasocial relationship with you. Ooh,
Well, we can't have a parasocial relationship because we have an actual relationship.
Oh.
So a parasocial relationship is like the relationship that you have with all the characters on Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
It's important, I think, sometimes to keep it that way. I got to bring up the story
Play
of
it
meeting
cool.
Michelle Trachtenberg at a wedding once, who was a character from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She played Buffy's little sister, and the fans of the show, a lot of people did not like this, that she came on the show in the first place. Yeah, I came in late in the season. I didn't care, but I was so thrilled that I went to a wedding. We have a mutual friend. Our friends Creighton and Ryan got married, and I was actually seated at her table. And this is back when I was still drinking, but I could not sit at the table. I told my wife, I go, that's Michelle Trachtenberg. And my wife's like, who? And I was like, oh my God, it's Dawn from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She's like, I don't care. She's really funny. And I was like, I'm going to fangirl her if I sit down. She's like, just sit down. She just told an amazing story about her boobs. I was like, oh my God. And I just kept getting drunker and drunker and avoiding her until I got drunk enough to speak to her, and I should not have.
Smart.
Because then I said everything that you shouldn't say as a fan to someone you're going to fangirl. It was like, oh my God, I read an interview once that you auditioned for Buffy because you were a fan. And I was like, stop talking, Kristin, stop. And she looked at me like, stop talking, Kristin. And we were, and then like halfway through a very long story that I don't remember what I was saying, she just said, thank you, and walked off. And it was like the most dismissive thing anyone's ever said to me, but I was like kind of thankful that she saved me from whatever I was saying. But yeah, sometimes it's best not to meet someone that you're a fan. And I didn't even know I was a fan till I met her. Unfortunato. What would happen if I met someone like that I really was a fan of? Hopefully I'd play it cooler. Doubtful, indeed. Doubtful. So probably best to just stay with in my room
cool,
with my
weird
virtual
girl.
friends.
Play it cool.
The advice for the show: play it cool, weird girl. Play it cool.
That's right.
Anyway, I guess we've delved a little bit into our obsessions, but and as always, thank you, me and Kellie, for dropping by the show and shedding some light into a world I didn't know as much about, or I don't even know. Just thanks for dropping by and talking to me.
Anytime.
Always appreciated. My guest this week is what started all this, and so I want to hear all about his journey into the world of the Dave Matthews Band and what made a comedian fall so hard for DMB. So here's my interview with Dan Gabriel. Hey, computer lady, make Dan Gabriel happen.
Here is Dan Gabriel.
Thank you for joining me today.
You're very welcome, Kristin. It's great to see you, as always.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you agreed to do this. I'm so curious already. I don't know if the listeners know this, but every week I ask my guest, name 3 things that you might consider yourself an expert on, and you're the first person that's actually surprised me. The first 2 seemed normal.
Really?
Yeah. The first 2 seem totally normal. Comedy. Yes, you're a comedian. That makes total sense. Cooking. Sure. I would love it. But then the third one, Dave Matthews Band. That's when I got thrown for a loop. I didn't see that coming.
I'm surprised that that it never came up while we were working together on the ship.
I'm surprised too.
It's I have most of my t-shirts are Dave Matthews Band t-shirts, so it tends to come up when I don't even remember that I'm wearing the t-shirt, and somebody will come up and start talking to me about Dave Matthews.
I went right off the bat. I got 5 trivia questions. I just wanted to see how Dave Matthews you are from the very beginning.
How much, if I'm full of
let's just see. I'm just curious. And of all these, I might be able to get one right, I think. And so this is for a Dave Matthews fan.
Lay them on me. I'm curious too.
Question number 1.
Yeah.
Dave Matthews put out over 200 songs, but only one has won a Grammy. Can you name that song?
The one that's won a Grammy. Ants marching and be too obvious. I'm gonna say So Much to Say. Or no. What would you say? Is it So Much to Say?
So Much to Say is the answer. You
Yeah,
talked
all
it
right.
out like a game show contestant. Yeah.
You know what's funny about that song is that song, Dave gives half credit to someone that's not in the band, a guy who started out kind of in the band, kind of playing keyboards with him. He wrote that song with that guy, and then that guy's not credited on anything else, but just for that one song.
That's the one that wins a Grammy. Second question. What is Dave Matthews' middle name?
J. It's David John.
Yes.
Matthews.
David John Matthews.
Yeah.
Boom. Okay, 2
Yeah.
questions down.
David J. Matthews.
Question 3. I've got a bobblehead Jesus is a lyric from what Dave Matthews song?
And if you're lost, I got a bobblehead Jesus. Joyride.
Yes. 3 for 3.
Which is not on... I don't think Joyride's on... I think Joyride's just a live song. I don't even think it's on any albums. Have you heard the song Joyride?
I feel like I've heard that lyric somewhere before, and one of my friends from high school in our early 20s was a huge Dave Matthews fan, and so I've heard it in passing. So I've been around.
That song
Dave.
is
yeah.
That song's one of the songs where they train the audience to participate. Or they just end up, some songs end up becoming audience participation songs. So that song, they'll take a pause and everybody in the crowd goes, woo! At the exact same moment, at the exact same part of the song, it'd just be dunk-a-da-da-dunk-a-dunk, woo! Dunk-a-da-da-dunk-a-dunk-dunk-a-da-da-dunk-a-dunk, woo! Dunk-a-dunk-a-dunk-a-dunk, and everybody knows that's when you woo, and it's the audience participation part's fun.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Dave has twin daughters. Do you know their names?
Yes, Grace and give me a second. It's spacing. I know his son is named August, and Grace and shit. Just give it to me. I know.
Grace and Stella.
Stella. Stella. Yeah.
All right.
That's
3 for 4. What is the name of the official Dave Matthews Band Fan Club Association?
Warehouse. That's easy.
All
I was a
right.
Warehouse member for a long time. That's easy.
You're a 4 for
I'm
5
mad about the
Warehouse
Stella
member.
one. I know. I
You
know it's in the
knew it,
song
you just
Alligator
didn't
Pie.
know it.
I should have just
How
put it
many
on.
times have you seen Dave Matthews?
How many shows have I been to? I think I'm at around 60.
What? 60? Oh my God.
But that's spanning. This is since I was 20. So this is 25 years of going to whatever shows I could go to. I have friends who've been to hundreds of shows. You know, friends who have the money to take a summer off and just follow him around. This, you know, for the first few years, it was just seeing one show when he would come through the Bay Area. And then, you know, as the culture sort of grew a little bit, I started to try to go see more shows. And then for my honeymoon, my wife and I went to the Gorge in Washington State. Do you know what the Gorge is?
No.
Okay, the Gorge is an amphitheater in the middle of Washington State. It's like 2.5 hours east of Seattle. It's like halfway between Seattle and Spokane. And there's a Columbia River running through this part of Washington State, and there's a canyon, this gorge, and the owner of this one particular property noticed that you could be at the bottom of the hill talking, and at the top of the hill you could hear that perfect.
Oh, wow.
So they built an amphitheater there.
Totally different setting, but like Red Rocks.
Red Rocks is another amazing, great example. Have you gotten to see a show at Red Rocks?
Kind of. This was before I got sober, so physically I was there, but they, you know.
But you don't remember it?
I don't remember. I saw Alabama Shakes there, but I also.
I love Alabama Shakes.
So I've seen them since I've been sober. I'm like, wow, they're really good. My wife's like, you've seen them twice before. I was like, did I? So where did it go from? You heard Dave the first time to, this is bigger than just a band that you have, you know, on a CD in your car.
Okay, the first time I remember, the very first time I ever heard Dave Matthews Band, I was in a coffee shop in college. I went to UC Davis, and I was studying with my study group in a coffee shop, and I heard ants marching over the speaker. And I got up, and I walked over to the counter, and I said, "What is this?" And they said, "It's Dave Matthews Band." And I thought the way they said it, it sounded like a jazz trio, you know? Like I was used to bands having names. And so they were like, it's Dave Matthews Band. And then I was like, this is pretty good. And I kind of made a mental note of it. And then my next door neighbor had the CD. So I copied it from her and listened to it like crazy. And then I went to a show. They were playing at Arco Arena in Sacramento. And right before the show started, I was there with my friend Drew, and he ran into a girl that he knew from one of his classes. And he said, Dan, this is Krista. Krista, Dan. I was like, oh, nice to meet you. And then like 4 songs in, me and Krista are making out.
What?
It was like...
That's a powerful band.
We were just so... Oh, I mean, we're up front in the big, group of everybody, and we're just all squished together, and we just got all caught up in the emotion, and spent like the rest of the show just kind of singing and dancing and making out. And I just met her before the lights went down, and it was great. And she went to school at Davis also, so we tried to date for like 2 weeks, but we couldn't really match that first night of intensity, like just going and right. Seeing a movie later wasn't what we had started at this level, and you just couldn't we couldn't recreate it, so it didn't work out. But it kind of like cemented this, like, this is a good atmosphere, like everybody here's kind of feeling. Is that gonna
happen every time?
Yeah, and Dave just had this attitude. I remember that night he was saying like they were taking donations for like Greenpeace, and he was like, put some money in the bucket and you get straight into heaven. They just led you right into heaven. And I just thought it was cute and charming.
You mentioned that at that concert that you went to, just a couple songs in, you're making out with a girl because there's such a feel there. I know there's been so many marriage proposals that happened during Dave Matthews shows. Have you seen a lot being at 60 plus Dave Matthews shows? And what's like the craziest, display of feeling you've seen at a Dave Matthews show?
I mean, there's always people like, having sex under a blanket on the lawn at some of the shows.
That's awesome.
I mean,
well, see, now you're getting me into Dave Matthews. I was like, really? What blanket?
People get so overcome with emotion. They're like, we need to do this right now. Like, let's just,
Okay.
And it's, even Dave will kind of make fun of us at the Gorge. He'll be like, I know you're about to go back to the campsite and get freaky. There's this feeling in the air at a Dave Matthews show that everybody kind of just loves each other a little bit more.
Is your wife also a Dave fan?
She is, but not at my level.
Okay.
Like, she's a believer, but I'm a priest.
Okay. What is the fanniest thing you've ever done as a Dave Matthews fan? Like she's a believer, you're a priest. What puts you at that level?
I'm kidding. I know people who are way more.
Let's not compare you to others.
But I'm just saying, I'm not, as far as it go, like, I'm not at the level that... I have a friend, my friend Molly. She books the San Francisco Punchline, and she's an old friend of mine, and she's also a big Dave Matthews fan. And she got the musical notes to the end of the song Warehouse. She got them tattooed on her wrist, okay? And she books the Punchline, so she's kind of high up in the Live Nation, so she got to go backstage at Shoreline when Dave was there and meet him, and she showed him the tattoo of the end of Warehouse, and he like drew a little like heart and a little like DG next, or a little DM next to it, and she had that tattooed on. I think the what's the biggest geeky Dave fan thing that I've done? I after the show is over, Carter Beauford throws his drumsticks out to the crowd. And he's got his own special drumsticks that were made just for him, and they have Carter, and he throws like a ton out. He'll throw like 20 out, but like one at a time, and kind of, pick and shoot. Like, if you're a kid who is on somebody's shoulders in the front, you're getting a drumstick. Like he goes out of his way to give it to the kid or, you know, whoever, like, because it's like a blessing after the show he comes out. And so I've caught 2 sticks.
What? Okay.
The first one I caught in '06 at the Gorge, and I was next to Molly, and I immediately gave it to Molly.
Oh, what a good guy.
The second one that I caught, it was 7 years later. I caught a stick and I framed it. I got the poster for that show. Every show they put out a new poster, and so I framed it. It's I'll send you a photo of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, you've established you are truly a Dave Matthews expert.
I'm surprised this didn't come up before. I'm surprised that this is shocking news about me.
We worked on cruise ships together, so we talked a lot about buffets, a little bit about exercise, a lot about the audience. And I remember I borrowed a pair of socks from you that I wanted to return, but I don't think they're with us anymore. This is my favorite part of this show. This is where I talk you into playing a Mad Lib with me.
Do it.
Have you ever played a Mad Lib before?
Yes, I have. I have children.
Wonderful. Okay, well, this is not a Mad Lib for copyright reasons. It's a story that I wrote. I've left out some parts of speech. If you give me those parts of speech together, we'll make a hilarious story. Are you ready to play?
I am ready to make a happy lib.
Here we go. I need a city name.
Pacifica, California.
Okay, I need a family member.
My dad.
I need a life event.
Anniversary.
An adjective.
Furry.
I need a person's name.
Phil.
An exclamation.
What the?
I'm gonna put 3 dots there. ... I need another family member.
My grandma.
Yes. Is your grandma still with us?
No, I have no more grandmas left.
Oh, sorry, grandmas.
I don't know.
It's always such a... I should never ask that question. You still got grandma? No? Sad.
I got no more grandmas. I'm out of grandmas.
A celebrity.
A celebrity. Slash from Guns N' Roses.
Yeah. An instrument.
Triangle.
The ever popular triangle. A celebrity.
Meatloaf.
You know, my wife and I bonded when we first met because we both hate the food Meatloaf as much as we hate the musician Meatloaf.
Wow.
It was a big deal for us. Yeah.
You bonded over hate. That's beautiful.
We did, yeah, because anytime like someone's like, Meatloaf, we're like, the food? Boo! And like the musician, we're like, boo! It's double boo.
Yeah, one of my best friends, we met because we were neighbors, and he goes, "Oh, what do you do?" I said, "I do comedy." And he goes, "Oh, do you know this guy?" I go, "Yeah, that guy's a prick." He goes, "Yeah, he is a prick." And then we've been friends ever since.
Sometimes it brings people together, just the hate. It leads to love. I need a verb.
Spelunk.
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 Excellent word. We've never had spelunk as a verb on this show.
I like to be different.
You're different. You're different, Dan. An alcoholic beverage.
A wine spritzer.
An adjective ending in ly.
Oh, heavenly.
A body part.
Elbow.
That is the most popular body part on this show.
Really?
So you
I
should
went
know.
from unique to typical. Damn it.
It is the most typical body part. It's almost like you can guess that people are gonna say elbow.
Can I change it now?
You absolutely
I
can.
don't like it anymore.
Okay, you absolutely can. I'm telling you, it's almost every week I say body part and someone says elbow. And I asked someone,
It's
why
safe.
my elbow? Just to find out. And they go, it's pointy. I was like,
It's safe. Well, did you know that there's no nerve endings right here? So you can squeeze right here as hard as you want and it won't hurt at all.
I'm doing it right now. That's incredible.
You can, go hand your elbow to your wife and go squeeze this as hard as you possibly can.
Somehow
and
this is going to
hurt.
backfire.
Yeah.
What do you want to change it to?
Achilles heel, Achilles tendon.
A verb ending in ed.
Barfed.
A noun?
Crayon.
Oh, the story's getting grisly. A number.
41.
Something you yell.
My pants!
How often do you yell that? I like that you yelled it right now because we have a story.
Yay, I like stories.
We have a phenomenal story, and this one was written just for you, and it is called The Worst Dave Matthews Cover Band Ever.
Any Dave Matthews cover band is a terrible Dave Matthews cover band.
I was writing this, I was like, I wonder is there a good one? They're pretty unique.
Nope. Nope. There's a guy who won American Idol a few years ago that was doing a Dave Matthews impression and just not telling anybody, and he won American Idol. But every Dave Matthews fan was like, am I losing my fucking mind here? Let's read this book.
The Worst Dave Matthews Cover Band Ever. Well, last weekend, while I was in Pacifica, California for my dad's anniversary, that fits, I figured
Which I will be.
You're going to be there. Is that really going to happen?
Yes.
Oh my God, how exciting. Oh my
It's a real
God,
thing.
we're telling your future.
I know, it's a fortune.
Oh my God. So while there, you're going to figure, while I was there, I might as well check out some furry entertainment. Uh-oh, you're about to get into furries. The story took a turn. This says, I saw a flyer for a Dave Matthews cover band called the Trippin' Phils.
Trippin' Phillies.
I like the Trippin' Phillies. As soon as I saw the flyer, I said, what the? I'm taking my grandma. So when the Trippin' Phillies took the stage, I knew something wasn't right. The lead singer looked a lot like Slash, and he didn't play the guitar. He played the triangle.
That's a funny thing to picture.
Especially for like 32 minutes. He didn't sound anything like Dave Matthews. He sounded more like Meatloaf. And after every song, he would spelunk and then bow. The concert was...
Show.
It is a very strange show.
Inside a cave, I guess.
Oh, not a bad venue.
You have to spelunk inside it.
After every song, the concert was sponsored by Wine Spritzer, and the band and the audience had been drinking heavenly. Halfway through the show, the lead singer exposed his Achilles tendon. Then, while the band was playing Crash Into Me, he barfed off the stage and onto a crayon. It was the worst $41 I've ever spent. If I could say one thing to the Trippin' Phillies, it would be, my pants!
Yay!
Well done, Dan Gabriel. You've given us a fantastic story and a lot of information. Do you have anything that you want to tell the audience about coming up?
Please, if you want to hear my jokes, type Dan Gabriel into wherever you download things, and jokes will appear. I have many albums and jokes available for your listening pleasure. Go find them.
Wonderful. Well, everybody, find Dan Gabriel, follow him, and listen to his jokes. And Dan, thank you so much for being on.
You're very welcome, Kristin. Always a pleasure to see you and hang out with you.
Interview complete. Ejecting Dan Gabriel into space.
Well, that's a shame about Dan. Dan in space, if you can hear me, thanks for being on the show. And meet Kellie. Thanks for dropping in. You are welcome on the show anytime. It's so great to have you. So please like this podcast. So if you like this podcast, please give it a like, subscribe to it, follow it. You can email the show at Kristin@KristinKnowsBlank.com through the website with any questions, topics. If you ask us a question, I'll read it on the show. And you can find me at KristinKey.com. And find me and follow me on all my social media. There will be a brand new episode up next week. And until then, bye.
We're gonna talk to some people, gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna talk to some people, gonna learn a lot of stuff. We're gonna talk to some people, gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna talk to some people, gonna learn a lot of stuff. 'Cause Kristin knows